So I'm sure you're wondering why an attorney is here talking to you about the longevity of a doctor-patient relationship. I fully understand that I stick out. I'm not one of the healthcare providers. So I'm used to sticking out throughout my life is the reality. When I was younger, I was that little kid with braces on his legs dealing with leg calf perthes. And everywhere I went, people realized he's not maybe like the rest of us. But I've never let sticking out slow me down. This is one of my parents' favorite pictures of me when I was little. Although I was diagnosed with leg calf perthes, the doctors said, let him be a kid. And luckily, my parents let me be a kid, and instead of putting me in a wheelchair for most of the time, which I was in a wheelchair for quite a while, they let me go out and play. This was me playing night games with the neighbors. So yeah, I know that I stick out here a little bit, but hopefully I can explain a little bit about why I'm here. So to understand a little bit about why I'm here, you need to understand a little bit about my backstory. When I first went to law school, I left a family real estate business. And I thought, I'm going to go to law school, I'm going to come back, do real estate development, and work in the real estate development arena. However, in law school, my two best classes were real estate and personal injury. So when I came out of law school, ironically, my first real kind of clerking job was working for one of the top insurance defense attorneys in the Western US. And I loved what I did because my job at the time and what I was doing was helping prepare doctors for depositions and trials, walking them through, reading through their records, and helping them understand where somebody may be either coming at them individually if they were on the hot seat for maybe a malpractice, or whether it was regarding a treatment that they provided to one of their patients. But that was my job, and I loved doing that part of it. Now, coming back to Utah, I still thought maybe I was going to do a little bit of real estate development. I was offered the general counsel position for the Utah Valley Home Builders Association. But at the same time, I was asked to come in and present to a group of doctors, ironically regarding how can a physician maintain patient relationships after an accident and still get paid? Because there was this dichotomy of being able to treat, but the financial burden that a lot of patients went through. And so to understand that, you need to understand the following. 27% of Americans have no emergency savings. And that number has held fairly true throughout the last 20 years. Additionally, nearly half of Americans have less than $500 saved for emergency funds. Now, only 1 in 5 Americans have $1,000 or more. So when these patients would get in accidents, it became a financial problem to them, and it affected the doctor-patient relationship. Some of the monetary issues that the patients face are high deductible plans. I think a lot of you have probably seen patients that have $5,000, $10,000 deductibles. That's fairly normal in today's day and age. Additionally, you're going to see in trauma-type cases, accident cases, a lot of people have no health insurance. So what is the option at that point, or what do you do if you're maybe the emergency provider, somebody that they're coming into? Well, a lot of times what happens is you provide the treatment, and where they don't have the funds available to be able to immediately pay in the system, they were going into collections within 60 to 90 days. And once that hits the collection, two things happen. One, sometimes the patient is embarrassed to come in, or two, many offices have a payment first policy. If you want to be seen again, you need to bring your bill up to speed or up to date. So because of so many bills that maybe were piling up upon people, over 66% of the bankruptcies in America are related to medical debt because they just can't pay those bills. So what did I do? I brought to the doctors a two-part solution. First, retain an attorney that's reputable to help the patient through the insurance process. Now, a lot of what I do is auto accidents and death cases. So I'm not doing the workers' comp, I'm not doing some of the other areas. But what we taught them was if you can get a reputable attorney involved, you can then start walking through the process and understanding whether you were able to get paid. And I said, if you've got a reputable attorney, maybe you hold the bill on a lien. And one thing that you're going to get to here in a second is just data. One thing that I love is I'm all about data. I believe data is knowledge and knowledge is power. So I told the doctors, hold it on a lien with a good attorney. Let them evaluate whether the patient's at fault. If the patient's at fault, there's really not much somebody like myself can do. Then look at what the potential insurance coverages are. Because can you hold the bill, still get paid? Can you provide additional treatment and get paid? Finally, work with the doctor saying, did the accident actually cause the injuries that are claimed? One of the things that I always hear is, I got hit at 50 miles an hour, and you look at the back of the car and there's a scratch. Unfortunately, sometimes those things don't match up, and once you dig into it, maybe on a team basis, you realize that the accident isn't the causation, and sometimes it is, and that's what you really want to find out. And so with a good team of individuals together, you can figure these things out. Here's what was unexpected about this for me, because again, I was planning on really going into real estate development. There were 2, maybe 3 areas I had no desire to be part of. One was criminal. I still don't do criminal, never will. 2, divorce. I clerked during law school for a divorce firm, and that cured me of ever wanting to do divorce. And 3 was personal injury. But as I was teaching this group of doctors, they came back and they said, we don't like attorneys. We like you. We want you to handle these cases. And I was like, this is not what I was trying to teach you, actually. I was just saying, get a good attorney involved. They said, well, we want somebody that we like and we trust. So they pushed me to start taking their cases. Very quickly, my practice turned into the majority of being physician-referred cases. Here's the other thing that happened. As we took these cases for these physicians, the collections on these cases actually rose 43%. That is a huge number when you're dealing with an auto accident type client, patient. So their collections rose 43%. Client bankruptcies within our office are less than 1%. And these are the analytics that I love to track. So working with the doctor saying, hey, rather than sending them into collections, let's work through this. Let's try to find a win-win where you're actually going to get paid rather than nothing at all, and you're not alienating this patient into bankruptcy. Finally, when we talk about patient-doctor longevity, the relationship, their retention rate on accident victims actually rose from 61 to 94%. For me, those are huge numbers because the patients were no longer embarrassed to come back in or prevented from coming back in when we could find solutions to say, here's the options for treatment. Let's do what we can do to make this a win-win rather than a win-lose. So, at the end of the day, I know I do stick out, besides being short and bald. I am the attorney here with you, but I love working with doctors. That is one of the things that I truly love because I feel like I can work with ethical people and not have to worry about my name being plastered on some billboard somewhere. Second, we're all part of the same puzzle. When we work together, we can fill in those gaps for the larger picture. And we can maintain the longevity of the doctor-patient relationship. And that's really what this is all about, is longevity not only in your own practice, but longevity with your patients. Happy to answer any questions later for you, but I appreciate John Edwards. I appreciate this environment because I truly believe the statement, many minds lead to better outcomes. And this is all about the patient outcomes. So thank you for being here, and thank you for taking the time to listen to me.